Good day everyone. Welcome to our video reporting. My name is Rosalie Genovia and my topic is curriculum implementation. Curriculum implementation, as the term suggests, refers to the process of putting the planned curriculum into action within educational settings, transitioning from the theoretical framework to practical application. This process involves multiple layers of educational systems, from national level, regional level, divisional level, to school district level, and down to school levels, each playing a vital role in ensuring educational goals, programs, and policies are effectively realized. The specific functions of this level will be discussed by my co-reporters later. Ideally, the curriculum implementation is influenced by educational goals and set by the government or schools. However, the process of curriculum implementation is guided by an educational or curriculum philosophy. In practice, curriculum implementation is highly influenced by curriculum workers. People influence the process. Consequently, not all curricula are perfectly implemented as planned. In the process of curriculum implementation, there are always a problem encountered along the way. Challenges in curriculum implementation. Implementing a curriculum is often fraught with challenges such as resource limitations, lack of sufficient funding, materials, and trained personnel can hinder effective implementation. Next, resistance to change. Teachers and administrators may resist new curriculum changes due to comfort with existing practices or sufficient training. Last is contextual variability. Diverse socio-economic, cultural, and geographical contexts can make uniform implementation challenging. In conclusion, curriculum implementation is a multi-layered process requiring coordinated efforts across various levels of the education system. Success depends on clear communication, adequate resources, professional development, and continuous monitoring and evaluation. By addressing these elements, educational authorities and institutions can work together to achieve the intended educational outcomes and foster an environment where we as a student can thrive.
Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Maricel Ledesma Aviera and today I am assigned to report about the curriculum workers. Okay, sino nga ba ang mga nasasakop sa curriculum workers? Okay, first of all, I would like to read a simple idea and a simple research that I have done. Okay, curriculum workers, they are the teachers, principals, curriculum consultants, district supervisors, education supervisors, division superintendents, regional directors, education program specialists, technical panels, and technical committees. And I will read ideas na related sa curriculum workers. Curriculum workers are professionals who are responsible for designing. Okay, sila na yung mga professional kung sa mga mastered na sila sa larangan ng edukasyon na nagde-design or mga responsable sa pag-i-implement ng mga educational programs and learning experience that are crucial in shaping and improving the curriculum to meet the needs of the students. Okay, sila na yung mga kung sa mastered sa mga experience and then sa educational trainings na makahelp sa bata na ma-mold and then ma-improve ang mga curriculums na kailangan ng bawat estudyante and ng bawat teacher sa community. Okay, different rules of curriculum workers. Unang-una is curriculum developers. Next is curriculum workers are also instructional designers. Number 3, curriculum workers are also curriculum coordinators. Number 4 is curriculum workers are the evaluators. Number 5, curriculum workers are also curriculum workers and advocate for educational change. Okay. So, una-una, yung different rules of curriculum workers. Ang una is curriculum developers. They are They created well-rounded curriculum that includes content, skills, and assets. The curriculum coordinators, they are responsible for overviewing the implementation of the curriculum in the schools and districts. Okay. They are the coordinators. Kanina, nabasa ko is all about district supervisors or superintendents. So sila yung mga, kung sabaga, nasa division na, di ba? Meron tayong school division office, di ba? Doon yun sila naka-assign yung mga ganun. And then, ang kanilang trabaho is to kung sa baga, evaluate every schools. Meron silang time na pupunta sa isang school, titignan yung mga teachers, maglilibot sila, and then yung bawat classroom, titignan nila kung tama ba yung ng handle ng mga teachers sa mga kabataan, yung pagtuturo, di ba, ganun. Merong nangyayaring ganun sa mga, kung sa baga, yung nagpapa-implement ng curriculum or kung sa baga, yung mga learnings na ituturo sa mga kabataan. Next is the evaluators. They assess the effectiveness of the curriculum revisions and improvement. They collect and analyze data from various sources such as student test scores, classroom observations, and feedback from stakeholders. Okay. Evaluators. Kagaya natin, teachers. We are the evaluators. Kung meron ba talagang nalalaman yung mga kabataan sa tinuturo natin. So, nagbibigay tayo ng mga examinations, evaluations, not just paper test or paper exams, di ba? Meron din tayo, ina-evaluate din natin yung mga kabataan sa pamamagitan ng, kung sa baga, yung pagkatapos mag-discuss, tanungin natin sila yung verbal communication natin, kung test natin yung mga kabataan, kung meron ba talaga sila matutunan. So, mag-ask tayo ng questions and then they will answer. So, ganun. Then, next is, naalala nyo yung mga inkay, mga ganun, na bawat schools ay merong representatives or yung mga grade 6 pupils is i-evaluate sila or magkakaroon ng exam. So, yun yung mga gawain na curriculum workers, di ba? They are yung mga teachers sa bawat schools is nagpapa-evaluate sa mga different schools also para mag-collaborate yung mga schools, di ba? Meron nga yung mga teachers is nagsuswap, yung ibang schools is sila yung magbabantay, ibang teachers magbabantay sa ibang students. Curriculum workers are professionals who contribute to the development, implementation, and evaluation of educational programs. Curriculum workers ensure that students receive a quality education that prepares them for the challenges and opportunities of the future. So, tayo daw na mga curriculum workers, tayo ay mga professionals sa pagkukontribute ng mga kung sa baga development, yung kung sa baga ang pagbabago, merong kung sa baga nabubuong knowledge, confidence, and more learning sa kabataan. Tayo yung nag-evaluate sa education and programs na kung sa baga i-share natin na mga learning sa mga kabataan. Implementation. So tayo in school, tayo yung nag-i-implement, tayo yung nagbibigay ng kung sa baga knowledge sa kabataan, kung ano yung mga tama, ano yung kung sa baga learnings, ano yung mga experiments na gagawin para ma-achieve yung gano'n na result, and then kung paano isolve, ganun, tayo yung mga teachers. Ang tawag sa atin are the curriculum workers.
Hello everyone, I'm John Fabica Mangunan and my topic is under curriculum workers, which is the teachers. Teacher is the most visible among the curriculum workers. Their roles as implementers are very crucial. Teachers develop lesson plans, unit plans, yearly plans, and syllabi for each subject they teach. The teacher is also a curricular maker, and the teacher addresses the goals, needs, and interests of the learner by creating experiences from where the students can learn. Teacher also organizes content and materials, provides a platforms, meets the needs of the students, evaluate for assessing learning outcomes and achievement of educational reforms. The teacher is the second parents of every student and a lawyer friend. They guide every children and solve their grades. That's why they are the most visible among the curriculum workers.
Hello everyone, my name is Joshua L. Italia. I will be the reporter and my topic is under curriculum workers, which is about principal. Principal, the chief academic and administrative officer of the school. This basically means that the principal is the main head of the school. Principals play a crucial role in shaping the learning environment and ensuring educational excellence for the school. This means that the principal plays an important role in the school's development They have important roles and responsibilities, so let's delve into the key responsibilities and impact of principals in our school, which I'm going to explain one by one. First is leadership and vision. It means that the responsibility of the principal is to make sure that the school is aligned with its vision and mission. Second responsibility is curricular and instructional leadership. This is the most important responsibility of the principal. It means that the principal is the one to provide leadership and supervision to teacher and other school personnel. This includes leading teachers in planning school activities so that the events would align with the school calendar and would go smoothly with no problem. Another example is making sure that the lesson plan developed by each teacher is aligned with the curriculum. It is important for the principal to make sure that the lesson plan made by the teacher is aligned with the curriculum to ensure relevancy and efficiency when being taught to students. Another example is the evaluation of the teaching method of each teacher. It is important for the principal to evaluate the teaching method of each teacher so that the principal would know the efficiency of each teacher when teaching to the students. Another example is the assessment made by the teacher for the students. An example of this is exams. It is important for the principal to review the exams made by the teacher to ensure that the assessment is accurate in assessing the capabilities of the student. And lastly, it is the responsibility of the principal to make sure that the educational goals set by the Department of Education are met. Under the leadership of the principal, it is important that the educational goals set by the Department of Education are met. Third responsibility is administration and management. This means the principal is responsible for handling the school's budget, funds, resources, and facilities for the school development. Fourth responsibility is staff development. This means the principal is responsible for recruiting, mentoring, and evaluating the teacher and staff. Fifth responsibility is student welfare. This means that the principal is responsible for ensuring the safety, well-being, and academic progress of each student. Sixth responsibility is community engagement. This means the principal is responsible for building relationship with parents of the students, local organizations, societies, and communities. In conclusion, the principal is a pivotal figure in the education system. Their leadership and vision are crucial for creating a thriving school environment that supports both student and staff success. Understanding their role helps us appreciate the complexities and importance of educational leadership.
Good day everyone. My name is Wajid Balabag. The given topic to me is district supervisor. District supervisor responsible for supervising the implementation of the curriculum in the district level. They help public school principals ensuring that the program of the Department of Education are implemented in their respective schools. They also implement policies and programs of the Department of Education in private schools. The district supervisor are responsible for overseeing the implementation of the curriculum. At the district level, they work closely with public school principals to ensure that the programs set forth by the Department of Education are being effectively carried out in their schools. In addition to public schools, district supervisors also work with private schools to ensure that they are also following the policies and program set by the Department of Education. Overall, district supervisors play a key role in ensuring that education standards are being upheld and that the students are receiving a quality education. So here are some responsibilities of district supervisor. Number 1, leadership. Provide leadership and guidance to principals and teachers within the district to ensure effective implementation of educational programs. Number 2, curriculum development. Oversee curriculum development and implementation to ensure alignment with educational standards and goals. Number 3, budget management. District supervisor manage the district budget to allocate resources effectively and support educational activities. Number 4, student achievement. District supervisor monitor and analyze student performance data to assess progress and identify areas for improvement. Number 5, community engagement. District supervisor foster positive relationship with the community, parents, and stakeholders to promote collaboration and support for educational activities. Number 6, policy implementation. District supervisor ensure compliance with educational policies, laws, and regulations at the district level. The last is school improvement. The district supervisor work with schools to develop improvement plans and strategies to enhance student outcomes.
My name is Johanna Yusirat. My port is Education Supervisor. Education supervisors assigned to specific subject areas in the basic education. They help the district office, the Department of Education in supervising the implementation of projects and programs specific for each subject's area. So, education supervisors is assigned to specific subject areas in basic education. So, sila yung naka-assign sa pangunahing education at they help district office, the Department of Education, supervising implementation project program and supervising for each areas. So tinutulungan nila ang opisina, tinutulungan nila ang district office. Sila yung tumutulong sa district office sa pangangasiwa at pagpapatupad ng mga proyekto, mga projects, programa, at sa mga particular na paksang larangan.
Division superintendents, the chief academic officer of each division. They supervise the implementation of the DepEd curriculum, programs, and project and division level for both public and private schools. Usually, each province or city is considered a division for DepEd. Ang punong tanggapang pang-akademiko ng bawat dibisyon ay pinangangasiwaan nila ang pagpapatupad ng curriculum, mga programa at proyekto ng DepEd sa antas ng dibisyon para sa mga pampubliko at pribadong paaralan. Kadalasan naman ang bawat city or province ay itinuturing na division para sa DepEd.
I am Munaira Andal, and my topic is about regional directors. So, regional directors manage the programs and projects of the Department of Education at the regional level. It means they are responsible for overseeing and implementing education initiatives within their designated region. This includes program implementation, resource allocation, monitoring and evaluation, and stakeholders engagement. Sa program implementation, ang mga halimbawa ng projects and programs na pinamamahalaan ng regional directors ay tulad ng Brigada Eskwela, Gulayan sa Paaralan, ALS or Alternative Learning System, Feeding Program, SPED or Special Education, and etc. So sila ang responsable at nagtitiyak na maayos na naipapatupad or na-implement ang mga projects and programs na ito sa designated regions nila. They also manage the education policies. Next is resource allocation. So, ang regional directors ang nagmamanage sa nakalaan na pondo or budgets para sa mga manpower or needed materials para sa programs and projects na i-implement nila. Ang regional directors din ang nagmo-monitor sa impact ng mga projects and programs na ini-implement nila within their regions. Kung may mga problems ba na na-experience ang mga bata and teachers habang sila ay nag-aaral or nagtuturo. Kung may mga adjustments ba na dapat gawin. Of course, they need the feedback from the students and teachers to come up with the best solution regarding their problems and concerns. Halimbawa, kung may mga modules ba na hindi masyadong effective or kulang sa materials, then pwede nila itong ibahin or baguhin and magdagdag ng additional materials to meet the expectations of the students. Lastly is stakeholders engagement. Para mas maging effective ang mga programs and projects na ini-implement nila, nakikipag-ugnayan ang regional directors sa different stakeholders tulad ng school, community, and local governments to make sure na may pagkakaisa and support from each other para sa mas ikakaganda ng lahat and for better quality education.
Hello everyone, I am Claudia Bittingson and my topic is under curriculum, which is Education Program Specialist. So, what is Educational Program Specialist? It is who someone designs, implements, and evaluates educational programs. The educational programs such as K-12 and ALS program. The various educational settings, these are schools, colleges, and non-profit organizations to ensure that programs are effective in meeting the needs of students and achieving desired learning outcomes. What are the professional development and training programs? These are technical training, convention, onboarding, and orientation. What is the job of an education program specialist? Number 1 is designing educational programs. Education program specialists create curriculum, instructional materials, and learning activities that are aligned with academic standards and goals. Number 2 is implementing program. They work with teachers, administrators, and other stakeholders to implement educational programs in school. So number 3 is evaluating program effectiveness, is to collect and analyze data to assess the impact of educational programs on student learning for improvement. So number 4 is providing professional development. They may develop and deliver training sessions and workshops for teachers and staff to enhance their skills and knowledge in areas. So number 5 is collaborating with stakeholders. Work closely with teachers, administrators, parents, and community members to gather feedbacks. Number 6, they inform about new research but practice and policy changes in the field of education in order to continuously improve the quality of educational programs.
Posner stresses the importance of analyzing a curriculum by considering factors such as background, philosophy, and the expertise of a curriculum worker. So, ayon po sa kay Posner, mahalaga po ng paggawa ng curriculum, lalo na po sa pamamagitan ng pagkilala sa mga manggagawa tulad po ng kanilang mga backgrounds o kakayahan. Mahalaga rin po na suring mabuti at kuhanin ang bawat experiences, opinion, idea at background ng mga manggagawa ng curriculum, which is malaking tulong po yun para po mas ma-implement po ng maayos or more details po ang curriculum na i-implement po nila. po is Walker. According to Walker's observed that curriculum development worker individual philosophies, beliefs, and expertise significant influence both planning and implementation. So, ayon po sa kay Walker, ang paggawa po ng curriculum ay may kaakibat po na proseso at obserbasyon na kung saan ay magbibigay po ng iba't ibang opinyon o paniniwala ang mga manggagawa nito at nakaplano na po ang bawat curriculum na kanila pong ini-implement, which is yung mga makaka-impluensya po sa pagpapatupad ng curriculum. So, bakit po mahalaga na magkaroon ng proseso at obserbasyon sa paggawa ng curriculum? So, sinabi po niya dito na mahalaga po na magkaroon po ng proseso at obserbasyon po sa paggawa ng curriculum ay para po to provide children needs improvement.
My name is Farhana Ukat and my topic today is about Gluthorn, Bosch, and Whitehead. So, Gluthorn, Bosch, and Whitehead 2006. They emphasize that curriculum workers are curriculum leaders too. So, ang ibig sabihin po nun, according to Gluthorn, Bosch, and Whitehead, na ang manggagawa sa curriculum ay mga pinuno rin ng curriculum. So, sino-sino ba ang mga curriculum workers na ito? So, ang mga curriculum workers na ito ay they are teachers, principals, supervisor, regional director, district supervisor, division superintendent, technical panels, at iba pa. So, sila din po ang nag-i-implement ng curriculum. So, habang pinapatupad po nila ang curriculum, ginagampanan din po nila ang kanilang tungkulin. Sila din po ang nagbibigay ng mga direksyon, patnubay, at sila din po ang nangangasiwa. Sila din po ang namamahala sa mga tao, mga programa, sa anumang antas ng edukasyon at sa iba't ibang paaralan.
I'm Donavid Gabor and my report is the continuation report of Ms. Farhana Ukat. Many individuals and groups establish schools for business purposes with limited or no background at all in education. They establish schools and employ teachers and other experts to manage the schools and the implementation of the curriculum. Many individuals and groups establish schools for business purposes only. For example, mga private schools, nagiging business purpose siya kasi nagbabayad yung mga students ng tuition fee, which is nagiging business na siya. Ang ginagawa ng mga owners ng school is nag-hire sila ng mga teacher and experts para sila yung maging katuwang sa pagpapaktakbo ng curriculum, lalo na kung yung mga owner is wala silang background sa education or wala silang alam kung paano patakbuhin yung curriculum. Kaya ang ginagawa na lang nila is nag-hire sila ng mga teacher and mga experts nang sa ganun, sila yung gumawa at sila yung mag-implement ng curriculum sa mga estudyante. And then, nakikipag-compete din sila sa ibang schools para tumaas yung rate ng enrollment.
I am Zara May Butak, BECE, 3rd year section A. So, my topic for today is about levels of curriculum implementation. So, levels of curriculum implementation. To ensure the smooth implementation of the curriculum, each department and Ministry of Education in any country has established a system that will take charge of the whole work of planning, development, and implementation. So, upang matiyak ang maayos na pagpapatupad ng curriculum sa bawat departamento o ministeryo ng edukasyon, sa alinmang mga bansa ay nagtatag ng isang sistemang mangangasiwa sa buong gawaing pagpaplano ng pagpapaunlad at pagpapatupad, pagsusuri ng curriculum. So dito sa levels of curriculum implementation class is nagtatag sila ng isang sistemang mangangasiwa ng buong gawaing pagpaplano ng pagpapaunlad, pagpapatupad at pagsusuri ng curriculum. As shown in Figure 14, the Philippines follows a centralized system of curriculum development and implementation that starts from the nation level down to local school level. Tulad ng ipinakita sa Figure 14, ang Pilipinas ay sumusunod sa isang sentralisadong sistema. So, ang Pilipinas, guys, is sumusunod sila sa sentralisadong sistema ng pagpapaunlad at pagpapatupad ng curriculum na nagsisimula mula sa pambansang antas hanggang sa antas ng lokal na paaralan. Although the regional division, district, and the school levels are empowered to plan, monitor. Kahit na ang regional na division o distrito at mga antas ng paaralan ay binibigyan ng kapangyarihang magplano ng pagsubaybay. So, ang regional at division at distrito ng mga antas ng paaralan ay binibigyan rin sila ng ng parang powered para magsuri or magsubaybay sa mga gawaing pagpaplano. Tapos sa mga gawaing pagpaplano ng mga proyekto, ng mga programa at sentral na tanggapan ng Departamento Edukasyon ay ginawa pa rin ng karamihan sa mga patakaran at gawain sa pagbuo ng curriculum.
National level, Republic Act 9155 outlines the rules of different levels in the implementation of basic education. At the national level, under the leadership of the Secretary of Education, responsibility include formulating policies and plans, setting standards, monitoring learning outcomes, conducting research, and improving the welfare of educational personnel. Republic Act 9155, ito yung pagpapatupad ng pambansang patakaran, plano at pamantayan. Like for example, sa loob ng paaralan, magbibigay si teacher ng rules or patakaran na bawal ang cheating, bawal ang pambubuli, or iba pa. Pagbibigay ng serbisyo at suporta sa mga division office, dapat nakasuporta tayo sa kanilang mga ginagawa as a future teacher. Regular na pagmumonitor at pagsusuri ng mga paaralan. Pagkikipag-ugnayan at pagkikipagtulungan sa iba't ibang ahensya at sektor. Pagpapabuti ng mga programang pang-edukasyon ayon sa pangangailangan ng relihiyon. Pagsusuporta sa mga pagsasanay at profesional na pag-unlad ng mga guro at edukasyon personnel.
Hello everyone, our report today is about the regional level. At the regional level of curriculum implementation, the focus is on the aligning the national education policies while catering to the unique needs for local communities. Here a breakdown what this entails. Number 1, defining regional educational policy framework, catering a framework that reflects the value, needs, and expectation of the community served, ensuring the educational culturally relevant and responsive. Number 2, developing regional basic education plan crafting at the comprehensive plan tailored the specific educational requirements and challenging for the region. Number 3, setting regional education standard. Establishment standards that I am the international competitiveness, ensuring that students are with the necessary skill and knowledge. Number 4, monitoring the evaluating the learning outcomes. Regularly assessing the regional learning outcomes to the effectiveness of the educational incentives and identify the area of improvement. Number 5, undertaking research project. Conducting research project to the address specific educational issues and managing the region-wide project funded through viruses source to the enhance educational quality. Number 6, ensuring the staff compliance, ensuring that all the staff in the region and division and adhere to the national criteria for the recruitment, selection, and training to the maintain educational standard. Number 7, budget permission, collaborating with the regional development council to the allocate budget resources in line with educational plan considering the needs of the vision district. Number 8, determining organizational structure. Deciding on the organization structure of the division and district to the improving staffing pattern to optimize resource located of efficiency. Number 9, staff management overseeing the hiring, placement, and the evaluation to regional office of employee, including the assistant director of position. Number 10, evaluation of division superintendent, assessing the performance of division superintendent and the assistant of superintendent of ensure the accountability and effectiveness in the leadership. Number 11, research management, planning and managing the effective use of personal, physical, and fiscal resource of the regional office, including the professional staff development. Number 12, database management, the managing database of management information system of the region of facilitate the management, decision making, and the efficiency administration. Number 13, school approval, approving the establishment for the public and private elementary, the high school and the learning center of ensure compliance with the standard and promote educational access. Overall, the regional level plays a pivotal role in training national education policy into the actionable plans and activities and address the diverse needs to local communities and contribute to educational excellence.
My name is Marisa S. Dilanggalin. Ang report ko for today is school district level. School district level, through the leadership of the district supervisor, is responsible for the following: providing professional for instructional advice and support to the school head, the teacher, facilitators of school and learning center in the district or cluster thereof, circular supervisor. Bilang isang supervisor, responsibilities nitong pamunuan ang mga sumusunod na nagbibigay ng suporta sa mga pamaaralan at guro. School district ay kadalasang binubuo ng iba't ibang mga paaralan tulad ng elementarya, sekundarya at maaaring pati na rin ang mga kolehiyo at universidad. Ang mga school district ay mahalagang bahagi ng sistema ng edukasyon upang masigurado ang pantay na dekalidad na edukasyon para sa lahat ng mag-aaral.
School level. There shall have school head for all public elementary school and public high school thereof, so the establishment of integrated school from existing public and elementary, high school shall be encouraged. Sa school level, mahalaga na may school head na may naka-assign sa lahat ng public school, elementary to high school. Ang school heads, kadalasan may kasamang system school head. They shall be both an instructional leader at tagapag-manage sa pagtuturo at administrative management. Ang posisyonong ito ay nangangailangan ng harmony sa mga guro at learning facilitator ng school. Upang masiguro ang pag-deliver ng quality education, programs, project, at services. Samantala, ang mga non-teaching staff ang maghahandle ng school administrative at iba pang serbisyo sa paaralan upang tiyakin at maayos na operasyon ng institusyon. Consistent with the national educational policies, plans, and standards, the school level through the leadership of school head is responsible for the following. Setting the mission, vision, goals, and objective of the school. For example, nag-set ng goal ang school head sa kanilang school to improve. Standard test is scored by 10% within the next year. Creating an environment within the school that conducive to teaching and learning. Kasama dito ang pagtitiyak na ang mga classroom ay angkop sa pag-aaral at mayroon ng mga teacher necessary resources. For example, ensuring classroom are well equipped at may interactive whiteboard, projectors, laptop at komportable ang mga upuan. Implementing the school curriculum and being accountable for higher learning outcomes. Kasama dito ang pag-adapt sa modern teaching methods or pag-integrate ng technologies sa classrooms. Developing the school education program and school improvement plan. For example, maaari sila magdagdag ng extracurriculum activities to enrich the educational experiences of the student. This includes the scholarship para sa mga kabataan na may kahirapan sa pag-aaral.
I'm Norhudabi Abdul and I will be reporting the CHED or the Office for Program Standards or OPS. So, ang CHED Office for Program Standards or OPS is sila ang nagmamanage or sila ang may responsibilities sa mga curricular matters. So, ang CHED or CMOs or issues a memorandum orders, ang OPS is they issued a memo or the CMO para i-guide ang higher education institutions or HEIS sa mga courses na gina-offered per program. Katulad ng admission and retention policies. So, ang OPS ay nagbibigay ng guides para sa mga HEIS. Una is yung admissions. So, dito nakapasok yung mga GPA requirements, mga standardized scores, at iba pa. Another example is entrance exams. So, before ka maka-enroll sa isang school is you need to take your entrance exam para ma-measure kung anong courses or program ang matake mo sa school na yon. And this thing is mostly sa mga universities and some of it is institutions. Next is the retention policies. Ito naman is, ang nakapaloob dito is about academic advising, tutoring services, and extracurricular opportunities. The third is the administrative requirements. Ito naman is necessary procedures or documentation. Katulad ng filing paperwork. So, dito, kinakailangan dapat to organize at gina-maintain ang students' records. Katulad ng enrollment forms, transcripts, and other academic records. The next is faculty requirements. Ang faculty requirements is, it refers naman ito sa mga qualifications, skills, at responsibilities na gina-expect sa isang instructors or as an educator. Ang OPS pa din yung nagbibigay ng requirements, but this requirement is nakadepende sa mga institutions. Next is the library and laboratory requirements at iba pa. Ang mga experts in different academic fields, they are able to become a member of different technical panels and technical committees para matulungan ng mga commission sa pag-unlad ng CMOS per program. Well, sinasabi dito na all curricular at applications ay nag-change into a new curricular na gina-offer from HEIS is na-reviewed and recommended naman para sa approval ng OPS and Commission and Bank. Ang Commission and Bank na ito is nagkakaroon ng session or meeting ng lahat ng mga members ng Commission. So, the regional offices of CHED ay responsible para sa monitoring and implementation ng mga guidelines and policies na kailangan or nagaling sa central office. So, in this monitoring and implementation, ginagawa ito with the help of RQUAT or the Regional Quality Assurance Team. So, in this monitoring and implementation, ginagawa ito with the help of RQUAT or the Regional Quality Assurance Team. So, sila ang nag-monitor if lahat ba ng HEIS sa kanilang region is na-comply or na-implement pa nila yung mga policies and guidelines from CHED.
Hello everyone, I am Annalyn Alvero, BECE 3rd year. And for today's discussion, I will discuss about the levels of curriculum implementation at the higher education level. Levels of curriculum implementation refers to the process of putting curriculum plans and policies into practice in order to bring about changes in students' knowledge, skills, and their attitudes. The academic freedom of individual, HEI, and faculty members also highly influences curriculum development in the higher education. Curricular revisions are presented and approved by the University Council in the case of state universities and colleges. Ibig sabihin ng academic freedom of individual is both faculty members and students can engage in intellectual debate without fear of censorship. So dito, malayang makapagturo ng tama yung mga guro at malayang matuto yung mga students without unreasonable interference from the authority, na wala silang may kinakatakutan. So, both teachers and students are free silang i-express yung kanilang ideas in school without religious or political restrictions. For vocational and technical courses, the Technical Education Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, is the government agency that prescribes the curriculum and other requirements for the implementation of the program. For TESDA naman is yung government agency, sila yung nagprescribe sa curriculum and other requirements for the implementation of the program para sa mga estudyante na nag-aaral, para din ma-formulate yung mga manpower and skills ng mga students. For example, is dito sa school natin, meron tayong TESDA. So maraming students, colleges na nag-enroll sa TESDA kasi merong free tuition. Based on my research about TESDA, they have specific training programs offered by TESDA. So number 1 is Technical Vocational Education and Training or TVET program. These programs provide skills training in different industries such as agriculture, automotive, construction, electronics, hospitality, information technology, and others. So here are some examples of TVET programs. Number 2 is Competency Assessment and Certification. TESDA conducts competency assessments to evaluate the skills and knowledge of individuals in specific occupation or trades. So, dito naman, yung TESDA is sila yung nag-conduct ng competency assessments at nagbibigay ng mga certificates sa isang individual na tao na merong kakayahang ipakita yung kanilang mga galing sa isang gawain. So the last is number 3, Scholarship and Student Assistance Programs. TESDA provides financial assistance and scholarships to deserving individuals who want to pursue technical vocational education. So these programs nag-aims ang support students financial assistance or tinutulungan yung mga estudyante para makapasok sa scholarship para makatulong sa kanilang pag-aaral.
States, colleges, and universities must seek the approval of their academic councils and their corresponding board of regents for any curriculum changes and curriculum proposals before these curriculum proposals are sent to CHED for approval. Exempted this process is the University of the Philippines System UP. For me, curriculum changes refer to modifications, updates, or revisions made to existing curriculum of an educational institution. These changes are typically implemented to address the evolving needs of students' advancement in knowledge and technology and changes in society. Ang mga pagbabago sa curriculum ay maaring may kasamang iba't ibang elemento tulad ng mga layunin sa pag-aaral, nilalaman, mga pamamaraan sa pagtuturo, mga diskarte sa pagtatasa at mga mapagkukunan. Ang ginawang proseso ng pagbabago ng curriculum ay kadalasang nagsasangkot ng pakipagtutulungan sa mga tagapagturo, administrador, gumawa ng patakaran at iba pang stakeholder upang matiyak na ang curriculum ay mananatiling may kaugnayan at epektibo. For me, curriculum proposals are formal suggestion or plan put toward to introduce new programs, courses, or changes to the existing curriculum. These proposals are developed based on thorough research, analysis of educational trends, feedback from stakeholders, and consideration of the institution's goals and priorities. Curriculum proposals typically include detailed information on the rationale for the proposed changes, learning outcomes, course content, instructional strategies, assessment methods, and resource requirements. Proposals are usually reviewed by curriculum committees, academic boards, or relevant authorities before being approved and implemented. Commission on Higher Education, National Level. Commission on Higher Education is a government agency in the Philippines that operates under office of the President. It is responsible for regulating and overseeing on all higher education institutions and post-secondary educational programs in the country. CHED's main role is to ensure the quality of higher education, promote equitable access to education, and develop globally competitive graduates and lifelong learners. CHED Regional Office. CHED Regional Office play a crucial role in coordinating with higher education institutions within their respective regions, monitoring compliance with CHED regulations, and facilitating the development of higher education in the local context. They also assist in the accreditation of programs, evaluation of institutions, and dissemination of information related to higher education. Overall, the CHED Regional Office contribute to the promotion of quality education, access to higher education, and the enhancement of the overall higher education landscape in their respective regions. Higher education institutions encompass a diverse range of educational institutions that offer post-secondary educational beyond the secondary level. Higher educational institutions include college, universities, professional schools, and institutes that provide various academic and vocational programs to students pursuing higher education.
Things to consider in implementing the curriculum. First is government requirements. Government requirements means all judgment, orders, decrees, law, ordinance, regulations, rules, and any other requirements of any government or any commission or board are under this agreement.
It also includes memoranda, policies, guidelines, and requirements from the DepEd, TESDA, and CHED. The competences required by the board exam are also considered.
Some examples are business registration, tax obligation, and employment regulation.
Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Lobby. This is a report of book 2. Is the demands of society. The needs and demands of society are the standard in completing curriculum because it is important to a religion education. With requirements of the world we live in, the curriculum designers recognize that the education should not only focus on cognitive and development but also on affective and physical motor and demands. As a future teacher needs the children education.
Good morning everyone, I am Maria B. Bautista. My report is all about needs of the student. Needs of the students, including interests, are considered when the school develops academic policies and preparation for syllabi. So, ang mga pangangailangan daw ng mga mag-aaral, kabilang na ang interest, ay sinaalang-alang kapag ang paaralan ay bumuo ng patakarang pang-akademiko at paghahanda ng kurso syllabi. Hindi bababa ang paaralan, kolehiyo o universidad ay dapat magkaroon ng idea, palagang profile ng mag-aaral kasama kanilang minor at interest. Kapag nagpaplano at nagpapatupad ng programa. So, as a student, para mahikayat ang isang estudyanteng mag-enroll sa school kagaya ng PMC. Hikayat ng school, kailangan dapat maganda yung mga pinapakita yung program, yung mga interest, interesado talaga para ang isang estudyante ay mahikayat na mag-enroll dito sa BMC. At yung mga program po na pinapatupad is dapat masunod. And also, kailangan rin po ng meron rin po high profile. Meron po profile. Dapat merong record. Kumbaga, merong record ang isang estudyante para kapag nahanapan siya ng record, makikita sa kagaya lang po na register. Doon po natin makikita ang mga record ng mga estudyante.
My topic today is faculty expertise. The faculty is considered as the most important assets of a school, college, or university. They also play an important role in the implementation of the curriculum. Means faculty, sila yung mga teachers. Sila yung mga teacher sa school, college, or university. Mahalaga ang role ng mga teachers dahil sila yung nagtuturo sa mga bata kung paano magsulat o magbasa. From daycare to elementary and the university, college. Tapos, mahalaga rin yung mga rules naman teacher dahil sila yung nag-implement ng curriculum. Kasi every year, nagbabago yung curriculum depende sa management o sa school. Then expertise. Halimbawa, ako isang teacher. Ang expert ko ay paggawa ng lesson plan o di kaya thesis. Siyempre, paggawa ng thesis, siyempre expert na ako. Siyempre, alam ko na kung anong gagawin sa lesson plan o thesis.
My report is all about the changing nature of knowledge include the theories and research from different areas and professional organizations in the academic that also influential in the implementation of the curriculum. It could result to the integration of important topics or subjects and additional facilities. Okay, when we say changing the nature of knowledge, ito yung pabago-bago or pagbabago. For example, sa ating curriculum. Sa ating curriculum is every year ata. Every year is nagbabago ng? Yes, nagbabago ang ating curriculum. Nagbabago yung sistema. For example is, sa panahon natin ngayon is more on technology. Yes, more on technology na tayo ngayon. Kung para sa dati na parang, for example is, sa paggawa ng visual ed, kailangan talaga nilang like magmano-manong magsulat. Yes, pahirapan talaga. Kailangan talagang gamitan ng strategy. Pero sa panahon natin ngayon is, parang pinadali na lang ni technology. Parang, sa sobrang lawak ng technology is pwede na tayong like kumalap ng mga impormasyon, yung mga bagay na hindi natin masyadong alam, pwede natin gamitin si Google. Pwede tayong mag-Google. Tapos sa paggawa naman ng visual aid, gaya ng sabi ko, is mano-mano lang yung paggawa ng visual aid dati. Ngayon is pwede na tayong gumamit ng PowerPoint, laptop, at marami pang iba. Alam ko like most of us is mahiyain, hindi kayang kumanta, hindi kayang sumayaw, lalo na sa mga elementary teacher, kagaya namin, na soon to be like teacher. Pahirapan talaga, napakahirap po. Kaya dahil po sa tulong ng technology, napadali na lamang po ang paggawa ng mga assignment, report, and that's it. Thank you.
So, my topic for today is all about these factors were emphasized by different curriculum experts. Tyler 1949, Sowell 1996, Orsten S. Hawkins 1993, Mars 2004, Tanner S. Tanner 2007, as implemental and planning, developing, implementing, and evaluating curriculum. In the context of curriculum implementation, curriculum leaders and curriculum workers consider these factors in making curricular and instructional decisions. Si Tyler ay isang kilalang ekonomista at manunulat noong panahon ng mid-20th century. Then, si Sowell naman ay isang kilalang ekonomista, manunulat at teorista sa politika. Then si Mars ay isang professor sa Universidad ng Virginia at kilalang manunulat ng mga aklat tungkol sa relihiyon at lipunan. Then si Tanner naman ay may isang tatlong source of curriculum foundation. So, una is studies learners and learning psychology. Then, pangalawa is studies of life, sociology, and anthropology.